Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is PUTERA. In the final project, I will explain about in the before we get into the main discussion. Here, a quick look at the table of content. In this presentation, I will cover four key areas. First, we will talk about tolerance in the classroom, why it matters, and how it affects the learning environment. In the second, we will discuss ways to help students deal with anger, frustration, and aggression, which are common emotional challenges. And the third, we'll look at the disruptive behavior, what it looked like, why it happened, and how to manage it effectively. And the last, we'll wrap up with conclusion that connects everything we've discussed. And tolerance, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, defines tolerance as the action or practice of enduring or sustaining pain, the power of capacity of enduring. A new definition of tolerance issued in religion and psychotherapy. In other words, tolerance is the way or ability to endure, hold, accept something whether it's good or bad. Now let's talk about one of the most important aspects of classroom management, helping students deal with anger, frustration, and aggression. As teacher, we need to develop the ability to recognize and understand our student emotion. This feeling, anger, frustration, and even aggression are part of human nature. The key is not to ignore them, but to be aware when they show up. A good teacher is someone who can notice the change, understand the reason behind emotion, and more importantly, know how to respond appropriately. It's not always about discipline, it's about guidance, helping students regulate their emotion not only supports their learning but also create a healthier, healthier classroom environment. Well, how to handle student anger, frustration, and aggression. Using the 3C method, which is confront, comfort, and communicate. This method apply when there are conflict or interrupting for a student. First, we can confront them by asking them politely or asking to know what is going on. Don't force them and let they explain. Secondly, comfort them if they are mad. Wait until they are calm. And thirdly, communicate with them about the whole situation. Well, next we will talk about disruptive behavior. Disruptive behavior means that one or something student are disrupting or distracting the class that can make the process of teaching and studying difficult and hard. And talking during lesson, making noise, eating in the class, playing with their phones during lesson. How to handle? In the first, make strict rules, and the second, use game or fun interaction, and the last option is to call their parents or punishment. So in the conclusion, in the word tolerance is the way or ability to endure and hold accept something whether it's good or bad. Different people have different tolerance level. When it comes to classroom management, as a teacher or lecturer, we need to have a skill to handle all of our student anger, aggression, and other feelings so that the class can go smoothly. We also need to have a big understanding about the impact or effect if we use certain ways. Next, we will talk about the case. Mr. Johnson is a fifth grade teacher who has been teaching for over 10 years. This year, she has a student named Alex who frequently display aggressive behavior. Alex often interrupt lesson, talk back to the teacher, and something even becomes physical aggression towards his classmate. Mr. Johnson has tried various strategies to manage Alex's behavior, such as setting clear rules and consequences, positive reinforcement for good behavior, and speaking with Alex privately to understand the root of his aggression. However, despite her efforts, Alex's behavior has not improved significantly. And the question is, what classroom management technique can Mr. Johnson implement to address Alex's aggressive behavior? Provide at least three specific strategies and explain how each one could help improve the situation. For And the first tell them that there will be punishment, and the second put her or him in the front row. That's why he or she can interrupt the class, and the class call his or her parents and tell them about his or her behavior. And the case two, Mr. Smith is a seventh grade math teacher who has noticed that several students in his class frequently engage to off-task behavior during lesson. The students often daydream, cat with classmates, or use their phones instead of focus on their work. Despite Mr. Smith's attempts to redirect their attention and provide engaging activities, the problem persists. This off-task behavior is disrupting the learning environment and affect the overall performance of the class. And the question, what strategies can Mr. Smith use to increase on the task behavior discrete of the task behavior? Provide at least three specific strategies and explain how each one could help address the issue. First, they'll care name every time the student talking to each other or less focused. And the second, tell them to stop playing with their phones. And the last option is to collect it, put it on your desk. The last case, Mr. Brown is an 8th grade English teacher who is facing challenge with a student named Jake. Jake frequently exhibits disruptive behavior in the class, such as talking out of turn, making inappropriate comments, and distracting other students. Despite Mr. Brown's attempt to manage the behavior through verbal warning and seating change, Jake's behavior has not improved. This disruptive behavior is affecting the learning environment and making it difficult for other students to concentrate on their work. The question, what is specific strategy can Mr. Brown implement to manage Jake's disruptive behavior? Provide at least three strategies and explain how each one could help address the issue. And first, keep an eye on him, and the second, make agreement like and reward if he can behave better. And the last option is to punish him. All right, that's all for me. Thanks for listening. I hope this was clear and easy to follow. Thank you.